Good afternoon, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We're doing a special stream here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because we're tracking a strong storm cell that is now moving east and entering our area. Severe thunderstorm warning just issued, including a portion of Washington County for this monster cell that is moving due east at around 30 miles an hour. Within the thunderstorm, there are gusts at 60 miles an hour. We're tracking hail at least an inch in diameter. You could see that with that bright purple signature there, and hundreds of lightning strikes for the area. So this is moving from Giddings all the way into Brenham area. So that's where we're going to be monitoring this over the next hour or so. So look at the hail signatures. It's had a history of producing at least tennis ball sized hail in San Antonio. So as it moves into our area, we'll have to monitor for that potential too. That would be on the higher end, but at least we'll watch for some quarter-sized to golf ball-sized hail, as this is not looking to weaken anytime soon. So it's still holding a lot of strength as it continues to push eastward. I'm going to put a time track on this so you can have a better idea as to when it might push into your neighborhood. And if it sustains some strength, it could impact portions of northern Harris County. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. So right now, Brenham time frame to watch for you is going to be 2:37, Hempstead by 3:19, Waller entering your neck of the woods by 3:38, and the Woodlands 4:30. Again, if it holds together by that point, spring area, it would get to you at around 4:38. I'm going to put a shorter time span to get a couple more neighborhoods that are in the immediate vicinity of the storm cell, so you could have a better idea as to the time frame where you could see the storm entering your neck of the woods. Clay 2:30, Daniels by 2:41, and Hempstead by around 3 o'clock. Again, this is a storm that has been warned because it has some severe components to it. And because we have that threat throughout the afternoon, we've got a brand new thunderstorm watch. So the area that you see in yellow, so this includes Washington, Austin, Colorado, Wharton, Fort Bend, Waller, Grimes, Montgomery, Harris County 2. This is going to be a get ready sort of thing that we monitor throughout the afternoon. That's what a watch signals. Now, a warning means you need to take action from that thunderstorm, meaning go inside and try to stay off the roads here for the next hour or so. The thunderstorm watch, the severe thunderstorm watch, goes from now until 8 o'clock in the evening for the threat of potentially larger than 2-inch hailstones, which would be that tennis ball size threat that I was talking about. Wind gusts could even get up to 70 miles an hour, and of that wind, we'll have to watch for any veering signatures. So there is a setup in the atmosphere right now that could be conducive to a couple of tornado threats this afternoon. So all of the elements for severe weather are on the table for us. Future track radar could look something like this. Again, this is not an exact representation of the location or even the time, but it gives you an idea as to what kind of setup we could see. So this right now is happening a little bit further north at this point, but again, this could linger for a couple of hours, and this particular model has it along the coastline. Envision this coming closer to Harris County. That's a possibility. So something to monitor for us here in the weather department. We're going to have myself, Pat Kavlin, and our chief meteorologist, David Paul, keeping a close eye on this afternoon. Tomorrow, the threat continues. So this is going to be a several day event where we could see some severe storms. So I want to get you prepared for that as well. And then we'll come back and look at that severe thunderstorm warning here in a second. But tomorrow afternoon, this could be the big picture. So some storms dropping down to Harris County, even down to the coastline, but you'll notice a big swath of severe potential for our northern cities and counties. So tomorrow is going to be another day that we have to monitor in the afternoon. And then Wednesday, lingering moisture again. So Wednesday morning, the big threat looks to be down the Gulf Freeway, and then in the afternoon we could still see some scattered downpours impacting the city center. So several rounds of rain brings us not just a severe threat, but the threat of some localized street ponding and street flooding issues too. So a snapshot of the next 3 days looks like this: about a 40% chance for storms today. Again, a severe thunderstorm watch has been issued, so some of these could be strong storms. High temperature 82, tomorrow 83. Notice tomorrow's in red, an 80% chance for strong storms. So that's a weather impact alert day for us. And then Wednesday, we're going to scale back on the severe potential, but keep the rain threat pretty high. So still monitoring a little too much moisture in a short amount of time. That brings the flood concern. Tuesday's severe weather potential brings us the threat of some damaging wind, the large hail, the isolated tornado, kind of like what we're seeing right now. In fact, we might even up this afternoon to a weather impact alert 2, depending on how this storm that we're tracking right now holds together and whether or not it's going to impact a good chunk of us. So just stay tuned for that and keep up with updates that we'll have for you either in our newscast, on social media, or on our website. So check those mediums pretty frequently throughout the day. Severe threat for tomorrow looks like this. It's a threat level 2 and it's hatched. Anytime you see these black lines here, it means not only do we have the threat of hail, but it could be large hail like that tennis ball concern that we have even for this afternoon. We have it again for tomorrow. The threat of gusty wind, 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles an hour. We have that tomorrow too. So this is a multiple day event, and the tornado threat is everywhere in southeast Texas, a little bit higher though the further north that you go. And so that's something to watch because of the setup that we've got right now. We've got an omega block, so let me explain that really quickly. Low pressure to the west, high pressure on top of us on the plains, and then to the east, another low pressure system, kind of looks like the Greek letter omega. When we have a system like this, it makes for a really slow movement. So the lows are slower to dissolve, the lows are slower to move. So as they move through the areas that they're impacting, they kind of stall out and linger. So that's why we've got the threat for severe weather for a number of days. This low that would typically just pass us fairly quickly, say in a day's span, is going to take a little bit longer to do so. So it's going to bring us the impacts ahead of it today, so it does bring some perturbations, some shortwave troughs, pieces of energy that break off ahead of the low. That's our threat today. Tomorrow, the main energy of the low is swinging into the Lone Star State, so that's why we have an even higher threat for severe weather tomorrow. And then behind it, severe weather threat drops. However, as it continues to push, it'll still drag in moisture. That brings us the concern then to too much water in a short amount of time, which elevates our flood risk. Tuesday flood risk looks like this. It is higher the further northeast that you go, but even in Houston proper, it's a slight risk. What does a level 2 slight risk mean? We're going to see some widespread ponding. We're going to see some widespread high water spots. We could see some isolated areas that have street flooding, maybe even an isolated flash flood warning in some spot. That's more likely though in the moderate zone. In anticipation of that, look at that. So now we've got two overlapping warnings. So there's that severe thunderstorm warning and the flood watch. So ahead of that potential of a lot of rain coming down, we've got this flood watch. So the areas that have been highlighted for that include Walker, San Jacinto, and Polk. Actually, Grimes is included in that too, but right now the severe thunderstorm watch is taking precedence over that because that's today. So Grimes, Walker, San Jacinto, and Polk under that flood watch, 3 to 6 inches of rainfall possible for Tuesday. So now's a really good time to download the KHOU app. So anytime we have any storm that gains a little too much intensity, kind of like what we're seeing right now, we can alert you to that ahead of time just to make sure that you're not getting on the road or you're not going into a particular location that's threatened with severe weather, because it's really isolated at times. You know, it could look pretty calm outside, cloudy, looks quiet, but then in a different part of town that you may be planning to travel to, there's a severe thunderstorm warning. So just keep that in mind. Quickly, we'll take a look at the 7-day forecast and then come back to radar. But today, afternoon storms, some of these could be on the strong side. Remember, now we've got that severe thunderstorm watch, which is brand new. In fact, the National Weather Service just issued it as soon as I got on here. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on throughout the evening. It expires at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, weather impact alert day. We've hiked up the storm potential now to 90%. That's brand new. Again, there's lots of us working behind the scenes here. Tomorrow, 80%, on Wednesday. So this isn't a weather impact alert day just yet, but it's still flagged in red because of the amount of rainfall that we could see on Wednesday. So Wednesday we'll switch gears from a severe threat to more so watching the roads for high water spots and things of that nature. So that's still a concerning day for us. That'll still impact you when you're out and about. Thursday, Now we've dropped the rain chance there, which is good. You can, breathe a sigh of relief and wind down the work week a little bit better and then head to your weekend plans worry-free. It is Mother's Day after all on Sunday, so that's good. We just have to get through what is going to be a pretty disruptive next couple of days, starting with the severe thunderstorm warning that I'm tracking right now. This one includes now Brenham, so it continues to get shifted a little bit further east as the cell really is charging due east and not showing too many signs of weakening. I'll get a count on the lightning strikes here in a second, but really I'm paying attention to that hail core in the middle, and that's really the main concern with the severe thunderstorm warning at this point is hail. So right now it's showing the threat of hail that's an inch in diameter, so picture maybe quarter-sized hail or half-dollar-sized hail. And that is going to be affecting some 18,000 people at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and give you a track of this storm system. And then it's just about watching and waiting to see if it holds together. So for now, at its current rate, it's expected to be in Brenham in about 20 minutes. This is the main core of it, okay? I'm taking this kind of sample trajectory from the hail core signature. So you're gonna be feeling the rain and potentially the wind out ahead of this, but the main hail threat is going to be over you right at 2:30. Then pushing into Chapel Hill, that's gonna be around 2:50. Daniels by 2:55, Hempstead by 3:13, Prairie View 3:24, and Todd by 3:41. Now let me give you an idea as to when you're gonna start seeing the impacts from the heavy rain alone. Okay, heavy rain pushing into your area. Here's the timing on that. Okay, Brenham 2:12. So again, main concern for hail is going to be over you at 2:30, but ahead of that you will start to feel the light rain, then the moderate rain, then the heavy rain building up to the center of the storm system. Chapel Hill by 2:29, Hempstead by 2:54, Prairie View 3:05, Waller 3:16, and Pinehurst by 3:37. So there's a reason why the National Weather Service has issued this brand new severe thunderstorm watch. They're concerned that this particular storm could hold together as it continues to push due east. It's moving at around 30 miles an hour at this point. And I'm going to put the loop here because you'll notice there are more storms building in behind that. So right now I'm watching this other batch of storms that's going to be pushing right beneath that. So even as the storms pass through Brenham, there's going to be more that's building in. Let me take a sample of the lightning count here so we can kind of keep an eye on it, see if it's intensifying, see if it's weakening. Number of lightning strikes over the last 10 minutes, 188. Let me explain to you what the breakdown is here between negative and positive strikes. So negative strikes come from the bottom of the thunderstorm cell, so they're actually a little bit weaker, relatively speaking. Positive strikes come from the top of the thunderstorm cell, so they travel a large distance. They are 10 times stronger. So when you see that count, the positive one higher than the negative one, it means that these storms are really strong and not weakening. You'll notice the number of strikes has gone up from this scan to the last one. I'm going to give you a little refresh here, walk you through our concern for this afternoon and for the next few days. If I were you, I'd watch the weather closely today all the way through Wednesday. After that, things settled down. So right now, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Washington County, and the National Weather Service keeps propagating this further and further east, and that's because the storm system is traveling due east and it's not weakening a whole lot. Right now it's impacting about 18,000 people, and the main concern is going to be the threat for hail. Radar is picking up on a signature of hail that's about 1 inch in diameter, so this would be quarter to half-dollar sized hail. This is a look at the hail cores, the hail tracks over the last 2 hours. So you'll notice some big time hail signatures for Giddings, potentially up to baseball size, maybe grapefruit size. Again, radar takes a scan of the atmosphere a little bit at an angle, so there's likely some melting before that hailstone reaches the ground. Nevertheless, this is sizable hail. This is why we've got this brand new severe thunderstorm watch for a good chunk of southeast Texas and an active severe thunderstorm warning that we're tracking. One more time, I'm going to give you a brand new scan for the track of this thunderstorm and when it could get to your neighborhood, just to give you a better time estimate here. Again, traveling at 30 miles an hour, due east, and I'm going to actually put it all the way from the top of that cell, so not just including the hail core itself, and I'm going to push it all the way out into Tomball and Spring. If it holds together, you're looking at impacts in Hempstead by 3 o'clock, Prairie View by 3:12, Pinehurst 3:45, Tomball just before 4 o'clock, and Spring right around 4:20. So because these storms could be fairly slow moving, this might be a pretty busy afternoon. That means plans that you may have had hopes for, it is Cinco de Mayo after all, might have to be adjusted. At the very least, check radar before you head out the door, because you do not want to be thinking that it's nice and cloudy and clear and then drive into an area that is under a severe thunderstorm warning like this one is. So Brenham, right now you're starting to see light to moderate steady rain, and then right behind that, so in about 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to start to get those heavy downpours, likely feeling some gusty wind, and then you've got the threat for hail. So now is a good time to make sure you think about where you parked your car, bring it inside, and stay put for a little bit until those storms pass. Behind it, this just looks like heavy rain. We're not seeing hail developing with the next batch of storms that's moving in behind it, but something to keep an eye on, especially because the atmosphere is just primed and ready, and with these disturbances kind of moving in, we have the potential of seeing some severe weather throughout this afternoon and certainly as we go into the next few days. So I'm going to run you through what to look out for this afternoon and then how to plan ahead for your Tuesday and Wednesday too. Here's a live look at radar right now. So most of us actually fairly quiet. You might be thinking, why are we doing a stream? Look at what's happening up north. And this could very well start sinking a little bit further southeast. In fact, that's what it's looking like it's doing right now. So instead of moving due east at this point, it looks like it's taking a southerly dive a little bit. So that's why we've got a severe thunderstorm watch even extending down into Harris County. So Houston, if you work anywhere between the Loop, the Beltway, North Harris County, East Harris County, West Harris County, all of us have the potential of seeing some of these storms deviate from their path, which was due east. Now I think it's moving a little bit further southeast and be impacted by that. So severe thunderstorm watch from now until 8 o'clock in the evening. All the severe threats are on the table and they're fairly high. So large hail could be 2 inches in diameter, potentially a little larger than that, up to tennis ball sized hail. That could be a threat for the Brenham area as that storm has some strength there, could be weakening as it gets closer to us. Damaging winds could be a concern, as well as the potential of some isolated tornadoes. So have a look at Future Track. Take this more so as the general idea. We could see a couple of stronger storms through about 6:30 in the afternoon. We take a little bit of a break tonight and then we're right back at it again for your Tuesday. In fact, I think your Tuesday has a severe storm potential that encompasses a good chunk of us. So notice Future Track radar putting that reflectivity pretty noticeable right on top of us, even extending down to the coastline. That gives us a break again Tuesday night. We're right back at it again Wednesday morning. So the Gulf Freeway Wednesday morning might be messy. Then in the afternoon, a remnant moisture could be impacting all of us. So that's why we've got several days to monitor the forecast. At least a potential for some strong to severe storms today. More widespread tomorrow. We've raised the storm chance to 90%. Tomorrow's in red because it's a weather impact alert day. So breaking down what you have to monitor tomorrow, it's going to be the threat for damaging wind, for large hail, and an isolated tornado. The threat level is 2, and it's for the majority of the area. And it's also hatched. So when you see these black lines through the area, it means we don't just have the threat for hail, but some larger hail. Kind of like what we saw on Friday. So we saw something similar to this. We had a hatched area, but it was mainly for our northern cities and counties. Now Houston is included in that. So that's why it's something that we want to pay attention to. And severe thunderstorms also bring the risk of gusty wind, 50 to 60 miles an hour, which we can't turn away from or think that's a lower risk. It's actually not. That could do some pretty significant damage to your home as well. Not to mention, we've got the threat of some isolated tornadoes along with that. The bigger threat's going to be up north. Why are we having several days of severe weather? Well, it's because we've got this Omega block. So it's a setup in the atmosphere that doesn't allow for storms to clear the area too fast. So we've got low pressure to the west, low pressure to the east, high pressure in the middle over the plains, and it keeps it pretty stuck. That's why it's its name block. So it gets the omega from the Greek letter omega and the block because it's actually pretty slow to move. So it brings unsettled weather for the next couple of days. What does that mean for you? Well, just check back in with us. So check our social media pages. We're on Instagram, we're on X, we're on Facebook. Check our website, KHOU.com. Download the KHOU app. And of course, watch the newscast. So we're going to be live at 4 o'clock with Pat Kavlin. Our chief meteorologist David Paul is in. I can see him from the corner of my eye. He'll be here with you at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. We'll keep a close eye on these storms, and if we see another severe thunderstorm warning pop up, we will be sure to send you an alert just as long as you have that KHOU app downloaded. Okay, for now, please stay safe. Have a good Cinco de Mayo, but make sure you are ready to alter plans if you see any storms headed your way. Bye-bye.